Never miss an episode of the Final Furlong podcast. Subscribe now on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And now, here's your host, Emmet Kennedy.
Welcome to the weekend preview. It is great to have your company. On Monday, we're going to be previewing the York Ebor meeting. Georgia Cox, Adam Mills, George Gorman here as we break down the biggest races. We're looking forward to that. Make sure you're with us for that. Also, next week, the glorious return of Gavin Lynch to the Final Furlong podcast. Make sure you've subscribed to the Final Furlong podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, and on YouTube, so you never miss an episode, especially the return of Gavin Lynch and our York preview. Andy Newton, George Gorman and I are going to take you through the best betting opportunities for the weekend's racing. We're going to begin at Newbury for the Highclere Thoroughbred racing Geoffrey Freer Stakes. The favourite has won 7 of the last 10 runnings of this, including the last 4. Pinhole for Rafe Beckett and Colin Keane is a pretty short price favourite. He has drifted a little bit since the betting opened, 13-8 out to 15-8. Epic Poet 3-1. Candleford, really high class horse in his day, 5-1. Nighttime Dancer is out to 6s. Further, who's got form that ties in with him for Oisin Murphy and Andrew Balding, 15-2. And Ambiente Friendly, he was sent off joint second favourite for the Jobmont International this time a year ago, and now he's 10-1 for a Group 3 over a mile 5.5 furlongs. Deary me. George Gorman, let's start with you. Who do you think is going to win our first live race on Newbury?
Yeah, look, I've got plenty of respect for Pinhole. Obviously very impressive for last day over a mile 4 in the first time cheap pieces. He was beaten on his 2 attempts at further than a mile 4. I think it was 1 mile 5, 1 mile 4.5. But obviously he didn't have the assistance of headgear, so it was probably more that than not staying. He's likely raced enough to continue improving. But as you were saying earlier, Further's form ties in very closely to him pre-headgear. You'd have to say he's overpriced here on the basis of his 5th in the Chester Vase, where he's half a length behind Pinhole, and his half-length second in the Queen's Vase, where he beat Scandinavia and Pinhole. You'd have to forgive his last run. We finished last behind Scandinavia. But he was in front plenty early enough, which generally hasn't been his running style, other than when winning his maiden, I think, which he was up against inferior class horses, so had to make his own running. I think there's also a chance he came a touch too soon after his Royal Ascot exertions while he comes here fresh. I just think at the prices, they're pretty closely matched, although I take the point gear. I'll just be inclined to have a small bet on Further here.
Okay. I really considered Further. The run the last day was just too disappointing. There was no steward's inquiry into why he ran so disappointingly, which I thought was really, really weird. But Oisin Murphy back on board, it makes sense. I actually thought the horse who finished in front of him was the one to be with, Nighttime Dancer. I know he got absolutely obliterated by Scandinavia, but he was clear of the rest of them. He was 3rd in the Lingfield Derby trial when he didn't really handle the track at Lingfield that day, but he did handle the track at Epsom. And you watch that Derby run back. I know he's 100-1. He's got no chance, but he really had no chance with the ride he was given. Absolutely shocking. He was so badly positioned. And he makes up a huge amount of ground off the final turn. He goes past the Line in Winter. He goes past Delacroix. Both of them have advertised that in Group 1 form subsequently. He's only 2 lengths off Tornado Alert, who then finishes second to Trinity College at Royal Ascot and wins a German Group 1 for Syed bin Saror. The ground's going to suit. He'll stay. He gets weight from the older horses. The thing that concerns me is that Richard Hannon has only had 1 winner from 50 runners in the last 2 weeks. That's a worry. But 6-1 is the compensation you're getting from Nighttime Dancer. And this has been the plan for him for a while. I think he's really interesting. Pinhole is the one I'd be concerned about, Andy. I understand why he's favourite. He should be. The form in the Chester Vase, the same as Further, is there for everyone to see with what Lambourne and Lazy Griff have gone on to do in the Derby and the Irish Derby subsequently. The German Derby second was 3rd that day. Further was 5th to him. He goes on to finish 2nd in the Queen's Vase. But that's the problem, is that Further turned the form around in the Queen's Vase. He didn't look a stayer that day. Last time out, Ross O'Ryan got off him and said he's still a frame of a horse. He's a big baby. He's a horse who will improve with age. He's bred to be very good, being a full brother to Quadrilateral, who won a Fillies Mile Group 1 as a juvenile. But I don't think he's going to appreciate this stamina trip again, and he looks a vulnerable favourite to me. So Nighttime Dancer for me, Further for George. Who are you with, Andy?
Candleford is one that's probably going to go second favourite. I'm not sure if we've touched on that, but the sort of niggle with that one would be the step up to Group 3. I mean, I did look back, and its record at this level is 3-3, 2-4, 12-3. So it's had 6 tries out of sort of listed and hasn't been successful. It's now 7, not getting younger. Haggas did win it last year though, so that is the plus. You've mentioned the sort of dire form of Richard Hannon at the moment. If it wasn't for that, then yes, I'd sort of be with you with Nighttime Dancer, because there was a promising run last time at Newmarket, and even in the Derby, like you said, probably wasn't given a great ride. And this looks easier. And then you've got all the sort of the link with Further and the favourite Pinhole, and it's they finished ahead of each other already this season, sort of one each, I think, isn't it? So at the prices, I mean, there's 3 times the value with Further in terms of Pinhole. But did the cheap pieces just do the trick last time for Pinhole? But then what did it beat? I mean, the horse the horse that was in third that day, that Dream Harder, ran at the Curragh last week and didn't exactly advertise it. I think it was only 9th or something to that horse that George put up, Night Breeze. So that you can sort of pick holes all over the shop, really, and then it's just whether Further can bounce back from that, dire run last time at Newmarket in the Bahrain Trophy. So it's an epic poet. It's obviously got form tied in with Rebels Romance, but then bombed out last time. So there's conundrums all over the shop here, really, isn't there? So value looks like Further. If you can take a punt on it bouncing back, really, it's the only course winner in the field as well. So there's something to go on there. They've given it a month off as well, so probably looks to value Further, I think.
There may be somebody in the comments going,
yeah, actually, Ambiente Friendly was joint third favourite for the Judgment International. Yeah, get your facts right.
Apologies, joint third favourite for the race. But just very briefly before we go on, so both of you are going to go for Further in this race. But George, on Ambiente Friendly, as a former jockey, what do you do with this fella? They've gelded him. He's way too free. He keeps running with the choke out. His tongue flies into the air left, right and centre. They don't seem to be applying a tongue tie to him. They haven't done it for James Owen yet. Second run off a gelding up.
Look, there's always a chance, like you said, when they've done something about it recently, gelding him. But what would concern me, perhaps, is that they gelded him. They clearly thought he'd calm down at home because they took the hood off. And he still did it.
Yeah.
Whether it'll come with age or whether given connections, they'll see if a hurdle slows him down. I don't know. Like, it would be just sort of last chance saloon, aren't you? Like, if All Mankind managed to stay 3 miles round Horseheath, I'm sure Ambiente Friendly can stay 2 miles round Fakenham or somewhere.
Oh, jeez. I mean, we're going to talk about Los Angeles later on. Spoiler alert, we all think Los Angeles is a certainty. Yeah. He's in front of him in the Derby. He's not far behind him in the Irish Derby, and yet you're getting 10-1 about him now, and justifiably so. But this is a pretty winnable race. It's possible that this is the race that will work out for him, but I find it difficult to back this horse with any degree of confidence, given the fact that he's pulling his chance away, unless the gelding operation on the second run is the thing that's going to kick in for him.
And over a longer trip as well for the first time.
Yeah.
Flat. So, I mean, if it pulls like it did there, it's got no chance getting home. But I don't know. Like George said, it could easily bounce back, and it's got the back form to do just that, and it might do after 2 runs after a gelded operation.
Okay, we'll keep an eye on it. It's actually sad to see. I hope he bounces back because he's a very talented horse on his day. 10-1 about Ambiente Friendly. Nighttime Dancer for me. I'm going to take a chance that the Hannon form is going to turn around. They really need that with Rosallion running this weekend as well. But the two boys do not believe they're going to go with Andrew Balding and Further to bounce back, and perhaps he will. Newmarket for our one and only race. It's the Jennings Bet Grey Horse Handicap over 6 furlongs. Bin Harir is favourite for William Haggas. Kieran Fallon gets the ride. Addison Gray, Jack Nicholls takes the ride. £7 claimer for Clive Cox. He was just narrowly beaten on handicap debut 9 days ago. It's a pretty quick turnaround for him. He was third favourite for that handicap debut. He wasn't beaten far. He's only a pound higher. Comes into this in the back of a career best effort. He's a lightly raced improver, taking out a lot of exposed horses with the exception of the favourite for the Haggas team. Jack Nicholls' claim is very, very valuable with taking the £7 off. I think he's going to be hard to beat, George.
Yeah, pretty much copy and paste. Like you said, he was a pound lower for his handicap debut last time. Jack Nicholls, very handy 7, means he's effectively £6 lower. And to be honest, with how unexposed he is, he should be taking a huge step forward his second run in the handicap anyway. I'd say without the £7, I'd have him as favourite for this. Like, let alone with a very handy 7 off. We're talking a 6 furlong handicap with however many runners, 11. Like, he could blow the start or whatever, but it's as closest I would say to a certainty as you can get at 72.
That's what we want to hear. We want to hear about the absolute good thing for a multiple. Gamble responsibly. You don't need to be told, but gamble responsibly. I agree, by the way. Andy Newton, are you with us?
I can see where you're coming from. It's just the lack of experience, really. I mean, I like Jack Nicholls as well. I've put him up on a few, and that £7 claim is, super valuable. Haggas Camper in good order as well, so that one. But there is a stat against that. 21 of the last 22 didn't win their last race. So that Haggas horse, I think, is the only last time out winner possibly in the field. So there's a huge stat against that one. Favourites have only won 3 of the last 22 as well. So, if Addison Gray does sort of challenge for the favouritism with the Haggas horse, there's that to go on. But look, it's worth mentioning, we have got the last 3 winners in this race. Ferdinand, Silver Samurai and Strike all go. So look, Strike was second in it last year as well. I think that was off 75. It's off now 72. So that's £3 better off than last year. Back to its last winning mark. Does like it here. It runs, I think, a 1-2-6-2 on the July course. That's a big old price. They've put in £5 claimer on, who I know nothing about, that Olivia Tubb. But look, this will be its 4th time in the race, and 16-1 looks a big old each way price to me. Same with Silver Samurai. I mean, the Archduke Ferdinand won it last year off a mark of 75. That's now up to 86. I think it had a £5 claimer, same jockey on last time, so you can, it's all like for like, so it's up, £11 or something. But it did win off 85 in May when it had no claimer on, so there's cases there. And Silver Samurai, won it in 2023. Botty does all right here with his sort of 4 and older horses. He's got like a best strike rate on offer, 36%, I think. So, last 3 winners of the race all in there. I wouldn't put you off any of them personally, but Strike looks a big price for each way to me.
Okay, Strike at a big price, taking on George Gorman and I in our only race at Newmarket, the Grey Horse Handicap. We really do like that race, and hopefully one of us has picked the winner for you. I'm hoping it's George and I, very much so. The 225 at Newbury is the D&H Excellence in Nutrition Handicap. Get Ready to Rumble is your favourite for Jack Shannon and Tom Marquand, 11-4. Rhythm and Hooves, 5-1. Billy Lucknan and Robert Cowell. Little Guff for Daniel and Claire Kubler, friends of the show, with Jim Crowley on board, 15-2. He's got a good record for them. Holly Doyle rides Roach Power, who's a 15-2 shot. Keeping scrolling, I thought this horse was going to be a bigger price, but Mick Appleby teams up with Alistair Ralston, 9-1 shot, King of Stars. He was a double-figure price this morning. 3 of Mick Appleby's last 7 runners have won. The stable's in really good form, and this is an interesting horse. He was rated 94 last season. His peak was 104 and 102 before being sidelined for 655 days. He didn't really go on after a similarly promising reappearance last season, which is a bit of a concern, but he's too well handicapped to skip. He's won 5 times on a flat track, 5 times over 5 furlongs, and he's won twice on good to firm. He's dropped another pound to this mark of 86 now. I think he'll go well, and clearly some people agree with me, seeing as he's been backed into 9-1. King of Stars for me. George Gorman, who do you like?
Yeah, I've got plenty of respect for the favourite, for Jack Shannon, especially the form they're in. I think they're 29% strike rate at the moment. Given a chance, having been beaten just a length at Goodwood and allowed to run off the same mark again, which seems sort of madness, given I can't believe the ground could have suited that day and still managed to finish second. But I've gone for a horse that completely blew out in that race, finished last, in Star Chorus. He won off just a pound lower on good to firm 2 starts ago, and has basically been given a chance by the handicapper for running in that 5 furlong heavy ground race at Goodwood. Like I said, dropped a pound for that. His last one was in a class 4, but as a potentially improving 3-year-old for a very informed yard. They're operating at strike rate of 23%, I think, at the moment. I'm willing to take a chance, a biggish price on him. Like, I just think you just throw that form in the bin of that heavy ground race at Goodwood. Yeah. He's 25-1 for it anyway. Like, he's sort of,
Yeah.
To get dropped a pound for finishing last in a race on ground that didn't suit seems like a gift, especially when it puts you a pound above your last winning mark. I think he continues to improve here.
And Andrew Balding continues to be in fantastic form. Andy Newton, who do you like?
Yeah, that King of Stars, that's actually that's owned by, what's his name, Bill Esdale from City. Yeah, so good luck to them. But I think he did say in his piece that they might wait until the morning of just to see if the ground isn't too fast for it. But
run him, Bill.
Yeah, come on, because hopefully, and the Appleby form is decent at the moment. I think Mick's fired in a few winners, so good luck to them, and I think it's got a solid chance. I think the favourite or the potential favourite, the Shannon horse, is going to be the one that everyone sort of draws to with a string of placed efforts next to its name. The stable have won this before as well. I think it won it a couple of years ago, Jack Shannon. So, Tom Marquand obviously catches the eye. 6 runs, 2 wins, second at Glorious Goodwood last time out. I think it acts on all ground. It's it's not going to be heavy there or anything like that. I don't think it's any rain forecast, but it's one on good to firm, holding its form all right. But the other one is that previous winner in the race, won it last year, that Faustus for the Rachel Cook and John Bridger camp. It won it last year off 75. Had a claimer on last year, different one, same claim, £5. So it's a pound better off. 2 from 2 at Newbury, right? So it's never lost at the Berkshire track. And I just think that you can probably ignore its run last time out. That was at Goodwood, and I think it might have fluffed the start. I can't remember, but before that, it won at Newbury off a mark of 68 with no claimer on. Okay, so I think it's the same jockey, but he couldn't claim that day off a mark of 68. So, they're pretty much similar mark. So if you can ignore that last run, last year's winner, we know it likes Newbury. Faustus, for me, Cooks are good each way, 12-1. But the favourite I like as well, Get Ready to Rumble.
Is Andy Newton going to produce yet another big priced winner on the Final Furlong podcast? I should have been doing this big heave-ho at the start of the show. Hey, by the way, were you with us last week when we banged in 6 winners? 6 winners across the team. George Gorman on fire. Andy Newton on fire. I think I contributed 1 winner, but I'll take it. Big price winners left, right and centre. It was a really, really great weekend for us last week, so hopefully we can replicate that. There's some big priced horses coming, by the way. I might have bumped my head. I'm not entirely sure, but make sure you have liked this episode of the Final Furlong podcast on YouTube. If you haven't already, please do it now. It's a massive help to us with the algorithm. And subscribe to us on whichever podcast app it is you're listening to us on. And of course, hit that subscribe button on YouTube. We got Gavin Lynch coming next week, our York preview, lots of specials coming your way as well. Building up to the National Hunt Season 2 with some Paul Ferguson specials and discount codes for the Weatherby's jumpers to follow. This is the place to be, the Final Furlong podcast. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube video now. That's the audience participation segment over and done with as we go back to Newbury. Ripon even. What am I talking about? The 245. That's why you subscribe to the show, for fascinating insight like that when there's not enough coffee in me. 245 Ripon is the William Hill supporting MND Silver Cup Handicap. Paul Midgley won this last year, and his last time out winner Novello Lad is favourite to follow up. He's improved £9 in 7 starts this season, and his form over 6 furlongs this year reads 5th, 3rd, 1st. He's going to be very, very interesting in this race. Top price 6-1 is available. I think Hectic is really interesting. He took advantage of dropping to his last winning mark of 72, 2 starts back over course and distance. He's been dropped £2 for a disappointing run last time out, and he gets Harry Davis for the first time. He's placed twice from 3 starts off a break of 60 days or more, and he can go well. He might be in the grip of the handicapper, but Harry Davis could be the deciding factor at a track we know he can go well at. George Gorman, who do you like?
I take a couple of swings at big prices here. Havana Rum was down in my short list as just brackets if claimer, and he's got a handy £7 claimer on board here in Ethan Tyndall, who's ridden him a few times before. Essentially, the £7 claim takes him down to a mark of 58, a lower mark than all of his previous wins have come off of. He's had 2 runs over course and distance, 7th off £11 higher, and a win off £5 higher. And he's not been far away the last couple of times. He's beaten 3/4 length into 4th last time. He's beaten a length and a half into 2nd the time before. Second the time before that off 63. Like I say, he's £2 higher than that now, but with the £7 claim off. I just think this is the time to stick the £7 claim on at a course that he's obviously can win at. I just think he's very obvious at the weights. The other one right down the bottom, it might be close, not quite the outside of the lot, but right down towards the bottom, is Ziggy's Ariel. 2 career wins have come off mark of 75. Decent £3 claimer here, takes down to 74 here. 2 starts over course distance have yielded a win in the second. The second was off £3 higher, the win was off £1 higher.
I can't argue with any of that at all. Andy Newton, are you going to be with George or me?
Who are you with?
Well, I'm with... I am with the Paul Midgley horse, Novello Lad, and Hectic.
I'm with you then, mate. I'm with you. I'm with Novello here. I just think that there is more to come from this horse, 4-year-old. Look, I think I put it up as a lay actually a couple of races ago because they stuck it weirdly over 7 furlongs at Donny. And as you pointed out, clearly its best trip is over 6 furlongs. Then it bombed out that day. It was a funny ride actually. It was sent off favourite and it never really got into the race. Ended up coming 4.5 lengths, 7th or something. Wasn't really given a hard time. And then not long after that, a couple of weeks later, they ran it over 6 furlongs and it won basically at Pontefract. The form of that Sir Garfield, I think it won a couple of days ago somewhere. So that's a positive. As you said, Midgley won it last year. And it's only up a couple of pounds from that last win as well. The other one, that Showtime Mahomes is in there. The only niggle with that is the form of the yard don't do particularly well with their 4-year-olds. They only won from 49, but that's actually the sort of subject of that ITV player show. I don't know if you've seen it. I think it's called It's Showtime, but they sort of do a bit of a documentary on the owners on that. So if anyone's not seen that, it is actually quite good. There's a load of sort of northern owners that bought it, and they just show all that. It's quite a good program, to be honest. If you like a bit of an hour long ITV player thing, but it's all about Showtime Mahomes, named after the Kansas City quarterback, obviously. Oh, cool. Anyway, Novello Lad will win this anyway. I think personally for Midgley last year.
All right. Novello Lad for a trainer looking for back-to-back wins in the race. We'll go to Newbury. Classic was 4th in this race 2 years ago, and he's favourite for the Hannon stable. But again, that stable form is a little bit of a worry. I'm going to take a chance that Nighttime Dancer can defy that at 6-1. I'm not entirely sure if I want to take 3-1 about Classic to do it, though, for all that he did as a massive favour on this podcast not so long ago, and so he is a bit of a favourite. The one for the play spot, I would say, is Jumbie. He's without a win in over 2 years, but he's off an £11 mark lower than his seasonal debut, and he comes into this in the back of his best effort of the season, finishing 3rd and coming from further back than the first 2 last time out. He's a course and distance winner. He's got winning form at this time of year, and he loves the ground. He's short enough with the prices, so I'm going to take a swing at one that the 2 boys might just burst into howling laughter for me saying this. I think Wolf of Badenoch is interesting. He beat Derby runner-up Lazy Griff over this trip on his debut. He was only beaten a length and 3/4 by Amari City in the Vintage Stakes at Goodwood. That horse is now rated 113, and he was 3rd to Field of Gold in the Craven Stakes. The 3rd that day was Cool Hoof Luke. Next time out, he wins the Gimcrack Stakes at York, live on TalkSport 2 next week, by the way. In behind him was the European champion 2-year-old Shadow of Light and French Derby winner Camille Pizarro and the July Cup runner-up Big Mojo. That form's very, very good. He's been disappointing on his last 2 starts then as a juvenile. He was absolutely no match for Delacroix on his final start, but that was Delacroix, to be fair. He's been very disappointing this season as well, but he's now rated 96, and Liam Wright takes off another valuable £5. He raced in a handicap a couple of weeks ago. Liam Wright won a handicap a couple of weeks ago for Hugo Palmer. He's got 10 wins from 78 rides this season, 6 seconds, 14 thirds, 6 fourths. I'll take a place in this, by the way. Hugo knows when to geld a horse. When he does, they tend to improve significantly. Case in point, Seagull's 11, another very talented juvenile who'd been really disappointing this season. Suddenly he bounces back to life on the back of a gelding up, 2nd to Opera Bello in a listed race, then goes and wins at Glorious Goodwood last time out. This is Wolf of Badenoch's 2nd run on the back of a gelding up, 2nd run in a handicap. He's dam placed 3 times on Good to Firm. His sire, Pinatubu, was 3rd in the Guineas on Good to Firm. It's hard to be confident, but it's a slight drop in class. It's a drop in trip to a trip that he has won over before, and he's a massive 33-1. So I'm going to take a chance on Wolf of Badenoch in the 3 o'clock at Newbury. George Gorman, are you calling the men in white coats?
Like I said, it requires a bit of faith. It requires a bit of faith, that, doesn't it? But like the form is in the book, I totally get it. You're getting well compensated at the price. It was me I'd taken a big swing on this race, and you picked the only one that's a bigger price. So, I've got my longer price one of the 2 selections in this is Documenting. For the old boys, 12-year-old. He's won off a higher mark than this 8 times in the past, and I take the point. The majority of them are a long time ago off much higher marks. However, the most recent of those wins was 6 starts ago in December off a pound higher, like just not that long ago at all. Plus 2 starts ago, he was beating 3/4 of a length off a pound higher, effectively £4 higher, including Alec Volkansky's claim. So far this summer, he's been running all right. 2 fourths, a fifth, and a sixth. And this is the lowest mark he's run off so far this season. In fact, his lowest mark he's run off since his 2018 handicap debut, once you account for the jockey's claim.
2018.
Simply put, 2018. Since I think it was his fourth start. Simply put, I think at the weights he's got a decent place chance, and he's just far too big a price. I'd have to have him on side. And towards the sort of the shorter price contenders, I do think Jumbie has a cracking chance here. I've gone for the 2 pensioners. He was beaten a short neck in the Hungerford Stakes last year over course and distance, as well as winning it 3 years ago. He's been beaten less than 2 lengths on 5 out of 7 visits to Newbury. He's been placed off a pound higher 2 starts back and off this mark last time out as well. So he's in reasonable form. I think the return to Newbury will just pull out the couple of extra pounds he needs to get his head in front again. So those are the 2 I'm going for. It's one for the old boys, the 7-year-old and the 12-year-old. I'm sure the stats aren't in favour of 12-year-olds, Andy, but I think it would be for a fairly small sample size.
Yeah, probably like 0. Well, yeah, I mean, look, the age stat is 13 of the last 14 have been between 3 and 6, which, you know, is pretty much all of them, barring Jumbie and documenting. But look, I'm sort of look, documenting was down on my shortlist as well, mate. Look, it is 12, but I don't know if you mentioned it. Actually, won this race as well in 2022. Third in it last year as well, only beating 3/4 of a length. 94 rated then, rated 8. Had a £5 claimer on last time. Now it's got 3.
There is only 2 runs at the track as well.
Yeah, exactly. So you know, it's miles better off than last year. Obviously, it's a year older, but you know, it was an 11-year-old last year when it got placed. So certainly looks one for the. You know, and I do agree with you, Emmet, as well. Like Jumbie, you know, down in class. I mean, won the Hungerford Stakes, you know, Group 2 in 2022. Third in that same race last year as well. So dropping down into a handicap company off a mark of 94 does look interesting as well. We've got your old mate Classic in there, but, you know, like you've pointed out a few times, probably a better horse at Sandown. But Lulu's Gift is the other one I sort of came down on, only because Haggas has got 28% strike rate of his 4-year-olds at the track. He's won this a couple of times in the last 8 years with our mate Mrs. Cox riding for that Squats, I think it was. So, you know, he's got a good record in this race. Last time when it ran at Ascot in that Valiant Stakes, that Group 3 over a mile, pulled a little bit that day, I thought. So, you know, the drop down to 7 will be fine. It's only had 8 runs, and I just think, you know, dipping back down into a handicap for a yard that's got a good record in this race, on as well. It just looks at a big price as well at 10-1. That Lulu's Gift, I think, is going to go in at some point.
William Haggas has had 40 runners in the last 2 weeks. 15 winners. 1-5. Bear that in mind, because we're going to be talking about the feature race in a few minutes, and William Haggas is going to have a big say on that. Spoiler alert for the Hungerford Stakes. I'm not sure any of us fancy More Thunder. And we haven't talked about it properly. That was just the impression I got in the production meeting beforehand. I'm not entirely certain about that. And bear in mind, all 3 of us are major fans of More Thunder. So is there a shock on the way? We'll talk about that in a few minutes. First of all, though, we'll go to Ripon for their big race of the year. It is the William Hill MND Association Great St Wilfrid Handicap, the Class 2 rousing encore. I thought it was going to be real clever here. I thought it was going to be so clever. Caught the eye travelling so powerfully last time out at York. Shorter room, had to switch out wide to get the far rail. Stayed on behind El Monjed. That was off a mark £5 higher than his decisive York win at the Dante meeting. He's at his best in a large field and a straight track. He's got a lot in his favour for Ruth Carr and James Sullivan. And a lot of people agree with me, and he's been backed into 4-1. So that's not exactly clever. A Secret Guest is 7-1. Mr. Socks, who likes the track, Tim used to be 8-1. Rock Opera, an 8-1 shot. Al Zahir, 9-1. Kodiak Thriller, 10s. First Folio, 12-1. Grant Wood is 12s, and we haven't mentioned the price of the horse that I quite like for this race. The Yorkshire trainers have a phenomenal record in this race. They just basically keep winning it. They have had 7 of the last 18 winners had previously won at Ripon. I think the last 13 of the last 15 winners were all trained in Yorkshire. Is the horse that you like for this race a Yorkshire trained horse, George Gorman?
I'm going to mention a few, and some of them are Abduction. I think is likely. He runs off the same mark as when winning over 7.5 around Chester 11 days ago. But obviously Chester's a very sharp track, and he was a winner over this trip, just 4 starts back off a £4 lower mark, which is offset by a £7 claimer here. You'd have to give a chance to right down the bottom of the betting. His last win was off £2 lower in March, but since then he's been beaten a length off £2 higher and a head off £3 higher. He's a massive price given that sort of that weighting. First Folio beaten a short head over course and distance 2 starts back with this claimer on board, and he was beaten 3 1/4 lengths last time out without the assistance of a claimer. Last win was off 86 with a £3 claimer. Goes here off 87 with a £5 claimer, so it's actually £1 lower. Grant would be another one worth considering as well. Course and distance winner once from 3 visits to the course. £1 below the mark he was beaten a neck off 3 starts ago. He struggled to get a string of runs together this season, but the last run sank for tune-up 10 days ago. I think if I'm pushed, I'm going to narrow it down to Abduction and First Folio, who are First Folio's 12s and Abduction is 16s. But like I say, I wouldn't put you off Supreme King or Grant Wood if you were inclined that way either.
Some firms have cut Abduction to 14-1 already, so there's obviously people thinking the same way as you. Again, I'm going to swing for one at a big price, and maybe I've completely lost my mind, or maybe I'm just really fallen over the cliff. Nostrum has been really... I know. Give me a second. Nostrum has been very disappointing in his 3 starts for David O'Mara, but he was sent off joint favourite for the Dewhurst when trained by Sir Michael Stout. He won 3 of his 7 starts for him, and he was never bigger than 5-2 in his last 5 runs for the trainer. He was always well fancied, and he often under-delivered. He's been big odds for his 3 starts for David O'Mara, including last time out when he was an unconsidered 80-1 shot. If there's money for him, he should be backed. He may very well already be being backed, by the way. I think it's really, really interesting that they're now trying sprinting for his handicap debut. He's got pace around him in stalls 10, 8, 3, and 1. 7 of the last 13 winners were a 5-year-old. He's had 5 starts since he's gelding up, so hopefully he's now going to start turning the corner. 4 starts since his wind surgery. He should now know that he can actually run. It's his 4th start for his new trainer, whose horses are in tremendous form, and he's a Yorkshire trainer. David O'Mara likes to have a lot of runners in these big handicaps. He has 1 runner. It's Nostrum. So I'm hoping that the switch to a handicap and the switch to sprinting is going to spring Nostrum to life, and he's my pick in the race. I really do like the favourite, Rousing Encore. I think 4-1 is too short, so I'm going to take a chance on Nostrum. This is the last chance for Nostrum, though. This really is the last chance for him. Andy Newton.
And O'Mara's won, 3 of the last 14 as well. And who did it used to be trained by, Nostrum? The other angle that we've talked about on this?
It's the most profitable angle of the entire season. Ex-Sir Michael Stout, new trainer angle.
It is. So, but yeah, I mean, it's got a lot of weight, but it's got that for a reason. Like you say, it's down in class, been running at group level, and it's interesting they're putting, back over 6 furlongs. Is it the first time it's ever run over this sort of trip? I think.
Yeah.
All runs.
He's never run over 6 furlongs.
Yeah, so could be interesting. The only if you do like your stats, the 9 of the last 10 have carried 9 stone 1 or less, and obviously that's got a chunk more than that. But there's only 3, I think, that fall outside that, which is the top 3 on the card. So look, the other sort of angle that I came down on, which was an interesting one, was horses that ran in the Great St Wilfrid last year that came back again, right? And we 6 years, so not only the last 6 years, we've had 3 winners for 50% that ran in the race last year, and there's only 2 that go this year that were in it last year, and that's Secret Guest and that Rock Opera. So Rock Opera was 12th last year in it, and I can't remember where Secret Guest finished, but let me just check. I think that came. That
Secret
was
Guest
third.
Was third.
third in it last year as well. So, and look, that run last time at Secret Guest, had a big weight, 9 stone 13. It's now got like an 8 stone 11 or something with Breslin's claim on that as well. Draw 11 looks all right. I think 8 of the last 19 have been sort of drawn in the middle. You sort of want maybe slightly double figures, sort of 10 or above. So that looks okay. Form of that looks all right as well. There's some horses that have come out in that first race last time. Roberto Caro and that Mr. Sox have won since. Brian Smart won this in the past as well. So that's a plus. And then, the only thing is both of these are probably in the market. They're both second, third favourite, that Rock Opera as well. Farley's got a good record in it. You mentioned he's won 3 of the last 12. That Claimer that we mentioned earlier, that Ethan Tyndale, is it? He rides that. I think he had a winner at Beverley in the week, and he looked pretty solid in the saddle to me when he won that. Quite strong in the finish that day because he looked beaten and he fought back. So yeah, I mean, look, Rock Opera when it was 12th last year, it was rated 81. It's rated 80 now, so it's £1 lower. But obviously, it's got the £7 claimer on. So yeah, look, last year's only 2 that run in it. I think there could be the way forward there. Secret Guest and Rock Opera.
Okay, a few big price selections for you in the feature race at Ripon. It's going to be a real cracker. Well, a couple of trips to the Curragh. One race to really preview in depth, and we weren't going to preview this race in depth because why would he preview this race in depth? It's going to be a stroll in the park for Los Angeles at 3 or 4 to 1 on. Obviously, he just goes and wins easily. And then Andy Newton said, no, he's odds against. I was like, what? Yeah, he's odds against. Okay. Aidan O'Brien has used this as a prep for High Chaparral in Luxembourg before going on to win the Irish Champion Stakes. Found won this before finishing second in the Irish Champion Stakes as well. It's a race Aidan O'Brien likes. Los Angeles is back. He was awful at Royal Ascot. Awful at the Royal Meeting, but he was given no chance with the ride he was given that day. Ryan Moore's a genius. He's the best jockey in the world. I don't know what the hell they were doing that day. He's 11 to 10. A Group 1 winner at 2, 3, and 4. And it seems, George, as though the betting is telling you that this Johnny Murtagh horse is the real threat. Okay. He got beaten by Amalok the last day, and I'm not entirely certain he's going to appreciate coming back down to 10 furlongs. Why is Los Angeles 11 to 10 for this?
I would assume because if you look at the weights, in theory, Zaran has a chance. He's receiving £12 and is rated £12 lower. But like you said, the real kicker for me, because of the two of them, he's more likely to improve. And therefore, you'll go, well, he's got a good chance of beating him. But they said, I'm a big fan of Amalok. Beckett's horses weren't exactly running well at Ascot. And I'm not sure if he finished second to the real Amalok on that day, however good it looked. And the real kicker is the drop back in trip. If you're 3 years old already winning over a mile 4, nobody said this about Los Angeles as well, you're only going to want further as you go on. Dropping back in trip could be not be ideal for this horse. Whereas Los Angeles, as much as we all thought at the start of the season, mile 2, fast ground, you won't see which way they went. He's proven us wrong twice before, the pacemaker. No, it wasn't even the pacemaker. He just got given a bad ride last time, wasn't it? And he's proven at this level over this trip on this ground, and the only credible threat isn't. So it's just Los Angeles benefit, I think, this.
Yeah, I completely agree. I know that Wimbledon Hawkeye ran well at Goodwood, and he ran well at Newmarket in a race that's worked out very well with El Corbettaz going to America and winning a Grade 1. Galveston was absolutely battered at Goodwood, and he was third. I don't get this. I know that Johnny Murtagh really likes this horse, Andy Newton, but there's a difference between really liking a horse who's finished second over 12 furlongs at Royal Ascot when they expected him to go and win against a very exciting gelding for Rafe Beckett. George is right. That horse won that day, but I don't think that's the real Amalok. I think he's a lot better than that. And you're taking on Los Angeles in a race Aidan O'Brien really likes to win.
Yeah, 100% agree. I mean, when we looked at the prices, we were like, hang on a minute. And then you start thinking, why is Los Angeles not odds on? And maybe it will be by the time the race comes around. We'll have to see. But, it's 3 from 3 at the Curragh. The Murtagh horses never run at the Curragh. So, do you want to be taking on a horse, who's unbeaten at the track against a horse who's never run on it? yes, like you said, there might be some potential and this and the other, but I mean, surely the drop back in trip has got to be a negative. I mean, it was just plugging on at Ascot, wasn't it? So over a mile and a quarter, it's going to need to be getting going a lot quicker, or than it did at Ascot. So it's a weird one, because you just think, why is it so big? And the other interesting thing is that Vincent O'Brien's won this 13 times. Aidan's won it 12, all right? So he needs just one more to equal. And I think he'll do it with Los Angeles, as we all know. That was you can rule out that race last time out. He'll bounce back at the track that he loves, and, Ryan's riding. It's a difficult one, but sometimes, we've been here before with these prices. Sometimes, I think was it over Christmas? I can't remember what the name of the horse was now, when we were like, why is that? Was it Hills or someone putting it out? Why is that? Why is it 9 to 4?
Galop on the Champ.
Yeah, that's right. It was. Right. That's right. And we were all going, hang on a minute, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Same sort of thing, isn't it?
Yeah, this doesn't make sense. I understand that Zaran is held in very high regard. They've got a mentor for the Champion Stakes. I know Johnny Murta really likes the horse. That's great. That's great. You're taking on Los Angeles. Have you lost your minds? Have you all forgotten how good this horse is? What, you want to forget about him because of one bad run? You have one horse to beat. One horse to beat. You don't need to worry about Gallen, I don't think, because he's been on the go for quite a bit, and he was fairly tame against Snellen the other day. Plus, he's getting beaten in a listed race at Royal Ascot. So, for all that Hatham's a really nice horse, Los Angeles would take care of him. The rest of them aren't good enough. One of them is a pacemaker for Johnny Murta. One of them is a pacemaker for Aidan O'Brien. And the other one is a horse whose best days are behind him.
It's worth mentioning as well. Like, it's not like with Zaran, like, for the swing that you're taking, it's not like you're backing a 5-1 shot. Like, he's very short as well. Yeah. Like, it's not like you're taking a wild swing. That's a short old price to be taking about a horse with that many unknowns.
Well, that's the excellent point to make. If he's a 5-1 shot, I would make an argument to back him.
Yeah.
But he's not. He's 13-8 best price. This is madness.
It'll be interesting to see what happens to the betting, come race day, because I think there'll be some movement here, one way or the other. I mean,
yeah.
But at the moment, it just seems a bit odd.
Well, it seems like the odds compilers have made the decision that they think Los Angeles is going to need this race, and that he's going to look big and burly in the paddock, and he'll come on for it, and then you'll see the best of him, Irish Champion Stakes / Arc. And Aidan has already said they're working back from that race.
But even the Johnny Murta horse was 2 months since its last run as well, so it's not
exactly. They've both been off the track since Royal Ascot.
Exactly. So 20-1 for the Arc, I think. LA.
I wonder if you stick the Aidan O'Brien horse, the pacemaker, in for the forecast.
I thought that.
If Zaran's not going to be able to lay up.
I thought that.
Galen will finish strongly, but he's just not up to this level. I just think he might just hang on. The pacemaker, he's rated 103.
Yeah,
which makes him. He's better than Crypto Force and the other pacemaker. It's a bit of a swing, but it make the race interesting for yourself rather than just backing. I would back Los Angeles at odds against, but it'd be a very interesting bet. The straight forecast, Los Angeles, Rock of Cashel.
There's a firm where you can take. You can do exacta bets beforehand and get odds on them. And sometimes those exacta bets pay more than the actual forecast. I'd be interested in what the forecast pays on Los Angeles Gallen.
But especially if you think about it, which of these two horses wants a stronger gallop out of Zara and Los Angeles? Surely the one that's best at a mile 4.
Yeah.
Which means Shamey Heffernan might go a lot faster on Tangapore than Wayne Lorden does on Rock of Cashel, and he'll be able to ride his race and just lead into it, Curragh-esque. Do you know what I mean? Like, he might be able to just follow him around, get picked up by Los Angeles. But he might not have to absolutely bust himself if Tangapore's going a good enough gallop anyway.
Now, Shamey Heffernan is a very professional jockey, but there is absolutely no way he'll be doing any favours to anybody other than Johnny Murta in this race.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I don't think it's going to matter. Essentially, Wayne Lorden's going to set a really strong gallop on Rock of Cashel. Rock of Cashel is not a horse you can ignore. Pace holds up on the front end at the Curragh. I imagine Ryan Moore just sits in behind him, and he's going to be very, very hard to peg back. I don't see any reason why that's a crazy price. Don't complicate your mind. Los Angeles, he wins. It's real simple. It's real simple. Is the Hungerford Stakes, though, real simple? I don't think so. William Haggas has won this 3 times in the last 10 runnings, so that's obviously a major pointer for one of our favourites, More Thunder. He has improved £16 in 4 starts, and he now makes his first start in group races. He was campaigned over... It's crazy. He was campaigned over 10 and 9 furlongs when trained by Sir Michael Stout. In 5 starts, they were the distances he ran at. So he's completely unexposed as a sprinter / miler, having won 3 of his 4 starts for William Haggas over 6 furlongs. Last time out, he won over 7 furlongs when he and Alto pulled 2 3/4 lengths clear. He finished really powerfully, so powerfully at Royal Ascot when he got there too late. And also Tom Marquand, who's a world-class jockey, but he had an equipment malfunction that day. He got the Pro Cush caught in the reins. That all happened in the closing stages of the race. It was a nightmare. There was no mistake next time out. He was brilliant at Newmarket. That was a really smart performance. How good is that form? And Tom Marquand, right after that race, said he thinks 6 furlongs is the horse's best trip, and that if they were to go back to 7 furlongs, they would need a rapid pace to aim at. Where's the rapid pace? Where is the rapid pace he's going to get in this race? I'm not so sure. I think there's a couple of really big priced horses in this race that are going to be very, very interesting. But let's start with More Thunder. We're obviously big fans of him. Is this race going to suit him, George?
He's screaming to me in handicaps like he's running out of pounds in hand, and that doesn't say to me that he's necessarily a horse to be stepping into level weights sort of company. He just wasn't convincing for me the last day, and it made me question actually would he have actually Ascot, to be honest. I ended up landing on Witness Stand. I'm very strong on him here, actually. Like, he's joint best in at the weights with Duty First, who I think you can probably ignore because he's been out of form since winning a very messy edition of a Fred Darling. Witness Stand, however, comes here off a career best, winning the Lennox from Lake Forest in Audience on just his second start of the season. That was by no means a fluke. Like, he showed on several occasions last season he had the potential to make it to this level. Most notably, his listed defeat of English Oak by 3 lengths, I think. But also, he finished second to Curragh, now a Group 1 winner. And Never So Brave, who's now £11 higher last season. I think for my money, he might not be the only genuine Group 2 horse here, but he's certainly the only one that's in form right now. And for that reason, I'm going to be all over Witness Stand here. I think he should be favourite.
Okay. I'm with you on the form, but a completely different horse is a much bigger price. But I'll let Andy Newton go first. Who do you like in the Hungerford Stakes?
Yeah, More Thunder, like we all said, it's a horse we all latched onto, 2 or 3 months ago, and we were like, let's get it up to group level. Back then, I think might have been the Temple Stakes or something like that. They had it entered and they pulled it out, and then it was all the rage for Ascot, and then got chinned and so on. But even last time, when it just got up, has the form of that being franked with that Alto in second, and it hasn't really, because that bombed out last week or since then. I can't remember where it ran after that. It might have been even that Billy Joe. I think it was in that international,
the big race at Ascot.
Ascot. And so Billy Joe was third, and we all sort of latched onto that a little bit next time, and that didn't really advertise the form. So it's just I don't know, the trip as well. It runs like 7 furlongs will suit, but I don't know. I'm not sure. And like you say, where's the pace going to come from? Witness Stand. I mean, look, if this was trained by someone else, then there's no way that it will be whatever it is, 7, 8 to 1, or it's coming a bit now. It's like 5s or 6s, but that is, so it's obviously the top rated in there, and that would be the interesting one. But I know George is sort of kibosh Duty First a little bit, but I do think that's a big price. Holly was on Witness
course and distance.
Course, it loves it like Newbury, and it's back to 7 furlongs. It's form over 7 furlongs. It's 4, 1, 2, 3, 1. Right. So I don't think it's been out the first 4. We know it likes Newbury. It in the season, and I don't know. Look, I mean, she's been running in Group 1 races. I know she's been beaten whatever out of sight, but she wasn't beaten out of sight in that Irish 1,000 guineas. It came 4th. It's only 4.5 lengths behind Lake Victoria that day,
and not far off Serene.
And like George said, with the adjusted and the fillies allowance and blah blah blah, at a track we know suits and likes and this, that and the other, 33 to 1. think that's probably a little dabble with Witness Stand, but I think we're all against More Thunder. I think that's the sort of headline here, but trying to find something to
well, the betting's against him as well, Andy. He's gone out to 3-1. He was 9-4 this morning, and even shorter than that at one point, which I just find interesting because all the Group 1 horses like Notable Speech and Shadow of Light, who were never going to go for this race, but they were still priced up for it. They've all come out, and yet he's on the drift, which I just find interesting. I agree with you on Duty First, and I really thought about putting her up, and the form is there. She could run a big race, and maybe she's worth a couple each way just in case she bounces back for Holly Doyle. But I think Marvel Man's got a massive chance here. And I think the pace of this race is really going to suit him as well in his positioning. Andrew Balding, Oisin Murphy. He didn't get the run of the race in the Jersey Stakes at Royal Ascot, possibly drawn on the wrong side. Maybe the ground didn't suit him. That doesn't really make a whole lot of sense because he's by Invincible Spirit. So the ground should have been fine for him. But for whatever reason, he was really disappointing that day. Seagull's 11 was just in front of him. He's come out and won a group race at Goodwood, second to Upper Ballon, a listed race. Comanche Brave, who was second in the race, has come out and won since. Ramuz has come out and won a handicap. Last time out at Chester, he comes under pressure, but he was responding off the final turn, and then there's no run. He couldn't get a gap. He couldn't get through. The door keeps being shut in his face. He finishes full of running. He finishes behind Witness Stand, who goes on to win the Lennox Stakes on his next start. His form with Cosmic Year, you can argue with me if you want, that's stronger than it looks. That horse should not have been beaten in the way he was at Glorious Goodwood. I'm adamant about that. And if I'm right about it, then his run against him earlier in the season is huge. He was sent off 7-2 for the Jersey Stakes. He was 6-4 for Chester last time out. He's officially rated £2 higher than More Thunder, and he gets £5 from the William Haggas horse. And yet they both have the same RPR of 116. Sire Invincible Spirit won the Champagne Stakes when it was run at Newbury. The Dame won over a mile in France, sister to a 1 mile Group 2 winner, Volta, half sister to a Group 3 winner in Calvados Blues. Oisin Murphy might get a nice position prominently on the front end and then just be in the right spot in a race that may not have a whole lot of pace. Spy Chief is fascinating. I think he's better over 6 furlongs. I don't know what he's doing back over 7. So I'm going to take a chance on Marvel Man at 20-1. I thought long and hard about Duty First. But Marvel Man for Oisin Murphy. Go on, Oisin. At 20-1 is what I'm going to go for.
Yeah, just make one last point on More Thunder as my assertion that he might not be group class at all, but he's certainly not group 2 class in what he's achieved. He's actually the worst in at the weights here.
Yeah.
Of the entire field. Like I hadn't realised that until I looked down at just now. He's wrong at the weights with every single horse in the field. I know Duty First is joint best in at the weights, but even down to like fairly treated, I think he's carrying £3 more despite being rated the same as Fair Angelica, who
he's actually lowest rated in the whole field, isn't it? With Fair Angelica,
yeah.
He has to give it £3. So it's a bizarre one, isn't it? They're just going on potential, aren't they? But you know, for a horse that's won by a nose, lost by a head, and won by a nose, you know what I mean? It's hard to say what else is there to come.
He is starting to drift.
This could be a very bad bit of placing.
He is starting to drift to the right price, but it's the quote from William Haggas and Tom Marquand that stands out. Tom thinks he's best at 6 furlongs, and William Haggas was adamant if we go back to 7 furlongs, he's going to need a rapid, lightning fast pace to aim at. Well, Spy Chief will go forward. I don't think he'll last it out. King's Gamble is a fascinating horse, eligible to improve, second run off a layoff, doesn't have much to find with Rage of Bambi. Rage of Bambi is fascinating herself in that regard. Witness Stand was a winner at Glorious Goodwood the last day. He's a huge player. Yes, he has to give away to the field, but he's a really talented horse in the back of what he did there. And he's got the form with Curragh. Big price. Big price, I would say, about Marvel Man. Big price about Duty First. There's just a few questions there. He is starting to drift to a price that you can just back him, but I think we're all keen to take him on, and we've all explained why. Okay, just very briefly, Irish St. Ledger trial. We're not quite at that point yet. I would say there's a wrong favourite here. Absurd should be favourite for this race. The form with Al Kareem's been franked since. He got within a quarter of a length of Illinois in Chester at the start of the season. While he continues to be frustrating, he was second in the Gold Cup, second in the Goodwood Cup. And the favourite is Puppet Master, who has been... Maybe he's going to bounce back. Maybe he does. He was really good in the Lingfield Derby trial, but I'm pretty certain Stay True is a better horse than him. He's were keen to see that horse back, and he was no match for Lambourne in the Irish Derby when he was pretty underwhelming. Maybe he wasn't suited by that race because he'd been brought over to Royal Ascot, but absurd is 2-1. That's an absurd price. Any thoughts on the Irish St Ledger trial, or will we kick on with best bets?
Well, I think we should give Absurd his proper title of Sussex Champion Hurdle winner. Absurd. I think it's
Plumpton. Lovely.
most important. Yeah.
It's a great CV, isn't it? Really, it's won the Ebor, won at Plumpton, won the County Hurdle, running the Melbourne Cup.
The greatest horse in the history of Plumpton Racecourse. Absurd.
Yeah.
The greatest horse to ever run at Plumpton. Absurd.
No, I'm not. Did Voipur Stakes run there? I think.
Yeah. I think it did.
The greatest hurdler to ever run at Plumpton Racecourse.
I'm sure Henderson.
Grade 1 winner.
No, you can tell us in the comments if there's a better one, but I'm going to stick. You've blown me away with Voipur Stakes. I'm going to stick with the greatest hurdler to ever run in the history of that racecourse.
Maybe. Because I'm sure they had a bonus there. I'm sure they did for any horse that won and then won at Cheltenham.
The novice chases, there are a load of them. The horse that won the Ryanair for Alan King, that won a novice chase there.
Uxixandra?
Uxixandra won at Plumpton.
He wouldn't be fit to lace Absurd's boots. What are you talking about?
You want to run?
Yeah, you want to run. Yeah. Shout out to our close personal friend Michael O'Leary, who we were chatting to only a few weeks ago on a Ryanair flight. True story. So I don't want to be popping that race too much, but it was the Ryanair. Come on, man. Okay, best bets. Who wants to go first? Go on.
Can I just quickly on the St Ledger trial? It's not a huge view, but I did think Uxmal's the wrong price. He's Puppet Masters easily best in at the weights, but second best with Absurd is Uxmal. He's best known for obviously winning the.
This is a mile 6, not 2 mile 6.
Yes, but look at his mile 6 form. Like last time he ran over before his comeback off nearly a year and a half off. He won at Killarney over a mile 6. He was second at St Cloud in a listed race over a mile 6. Won at Tremor over 2 mile. Second over a mile 6 at Gorman Park. Like just because he's won one race over 2 mile 5 doesn't suddenly mean he can only win over 2 mile 5. And I think with that tune-up under his belt, he might be capable of taking another step forward. And there's something I don't like about Puppet Master. There's something I really don't like about Puppet Master.
Something's not right there. I can't quite put my finger on it either.
I wouldn't have had him outside of the whole lot, is my point. I'm talking, this is your £2.50 that you happen to have left over in your account from a different bet or something like that, or a free bet. I'd just have it on Uxmal because he's the wrong price. And if Absurd doesn't quite fire, I think he'd probably win.
If you're going to the Curragh on Saturday, I'd just do the double on Los Angeles and Absurd. Maybe George is right. I think Uxmal will probably go for one of those French races with extreme distances later in the season, but maybe you're right. I don't fancy Puppet Master at all. Okay, let's go for Andy Newton's patent, shall we? Your best bets for the weekend, Andy Newton, are...
There we are. Yeah, Los Angeles, as we sort of said, looks a weird price at evens, or if you can get 11 to 10. Then we've got that Forster's that goes in the race it won last year at 225 at Newbury, and then Lulu's Gift for a race at Haggas Camp have a decent strike rating. And obviously we've mentioned Duty First in the Hungerford Strike, another previous winner back, and then those two in the St Wilfrid, that Rock Opera and Secret Guest. But that's the main three on the screen.
Los Angeles, the Nap, fastest 14-1, and Lulu's Gift at 10-1. That's Andy Newton's patent. Andy Newton, who continues to bang in the Naps, winning Nap last week, multiple winning tips on the podcast, some big price winners as well. The man who also had a winning Nap last week, was it 15-2 winning Nap for you last week? My memory is shot to pieces entirely, but it was a very productive weekend for George Gorman. You're going to go for a double.
Yeah. Witness Stand, I think it's totally the wrong price at 5-1. Should be favourite for the Hungerford. Like I said, best in at the weights, etc., etc. And I'm very keen on Star Chorus in the 225 or 5 furlong handicap as well. Both are very informed yards actually as well. Witness stand for Jamie Insole team and Star Chorus as well for Balding. 23% strike rate. So yeah, I'll put those two together. The horse in the grey horse handicap wouldn't be far behind Addison Gray, but I think in terms of value for money, these two are probably the ones at 5-1 and 10-1.
Okay, I'm going to swing for an each way lucky 63 this weekend, and mine is Nighttime Dancer, 150 Newbury, hoping that Richard Hannon can turn it around in terms of form. He did say to the Racing Post during the week when they were talking about Rosalian running in the Group 1 in France that it's not like they're falling out the back of the telly. So hopefully Nighttime Dancer can run a big race. I think 6-1 is very, very big for a horse that was clear second best to Scandinavia last time out and is still very progressive. Addison Gray, massive chance in the Grey handicap. He should be favoured for that, but he's not. We can get 3-1 right now. Taking a chance in Wolf of Badenoch, 33-1. I think you can get 40s. That back class is there. It's the gelding up is a really key clue with him. Speaking of horses who have been disappointing and that you're keeping the faith in to bounce back in a handicap, Nostrum, massive price for the great St Wilfrid, 320 at Ripon. Los Angeles, 327, should almost be nap of the day, but he's a little bit too short for that. No offense, Andy. I feel like when you've napped him, I need to go and nap something else. So do I nap Marvel Man each way at 335 at Newbury? Do I do that?
Yeah. Go for it.
Do I swing for Marvel Man at 335?
I mean, what's the maximum payout these days? That's going to be monster. That bet that's on our screen now. That's going to be.
Yeah, you know how we always say we'll see you in Dubai. Yeah,
we'll see you on Mars.
And we'll see Elon, fire up the rocket, baby! Straight to the moon. The lucky 63 to the moon. Nighttime Dancer, Addison Gray, Wolf of Badenoch, Nostrum, Los Angeles, and Marvel Man. They can pay us in installments. I'll pay a fortune.
Imagine if Los Angeles is the only one that lets you down.
Oh my God! And it's Johnny Murtagh's horse who does them. Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
that'd be pretty sick. Just very briefly on the French Group 1. Rosalian is going to be in action, obviously. Notable speech over a trip that will probably suit him better after the experiment. Diego Velázquez has been sold. He's in this race. Not confirmed that he runs or not, but he's now with Sam Sangster. He's going to retire to stud at the end of the season, but he will remain with Aidan O'Brien. There's a Japanese horse coming over who Archie Brooks, good contributor to the Final Furlong podcast and an excellent follow on social media, is all over, called Ascalali Pisino. I don't know, butchered that pronunciation. It was a bunch finish last time out. I'm not so sure, but hey, best of luck to them. Surely the Line in Winter just goes and wins this race. This is going to be ideal for him, isn't it? Ideal trip, gets weight. Mm-hmm. Form was franked from that Group 1 in Deauville the other day. That was over a trip that was too short. This will be ideal for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think out of the two, I mean, and as you mentioned before, the Hannon camp at the moment, a little bit quiet. So that's Rosalian. I mean, I think Aidan's only won this race once before, but it's been a great race for the British or Irish Raiders. I think the last time there was a French winner was 2017 or something. So, Docklands has been supplemented as well. Notable speeches in there, Dancing Gemini.
Rocket Gibraltar?
No, I think it was a horse called... He used to run behind Frankel all the time and obviously see the back end of it, I think. Or I might be wrong.
Oh, Acceleration.
Yeah. That's his only winner, I think, in 2012. I can't see any other O'Brien winners in that French race. So Goslin's obviously won it low. But but I think out of all, Line of Winter, that looks the most solid, doesn't it? Yeah, track form and all that, wants the extra furlong and could bounce back to live up to its name of we'll see.
Yeah, I remember Henri Matisse getting beaten in this race and Aidan O'Brien saying afterwards the wheels didn't spin. He was a wonderful, wonderful racehorse on his day. Diego Velázquez is a really solid contender, and I strongly liked him for the Queen Anne. So if he's a massive price and if he lines up, I wouldn't rule him out, especially if Christophe Soumillon gets on board. But
It's not a mirage that he's in the Sangster colours, is it?
no, he's been sold to the Sangsters.
We're all seeing that. Yeah. I thought I'd gone back 25 years in time then.
Yeah, it's cool to see those silks again, isn't it?
Yeah, gotcha.
There's a painting here of the minstrel, which I was too young to appreciate the minstrel, but my mother, God rest her, bought a few horse paintings, and one of them is of the minstrel in those famous Sangster silks. So that's pretty cool here in the studio. But yeah, I do like Diego Velázquez. Obviously, you'd love to see Rosallian win a Group 1. And he really should have won the Queen Anne, and he definitely should have won the Sussex Stakes. But that's the point. He should have won them, and he didn't. And I don't have prices, but I would imagine he's going to be pretty short. I think you want to be something just a bit more progressive.
The prices were 13-8 and 3-1 for the Lion in Winter. So Rosallian was 13-8 favourite. Lion in Winter was about 3s, but that could all change, come Sunday.
No. Best of luck to you if you're taking 13 to bet Rosallian. Best of luck to you. Might come off.
I'd leave him at that price, but I would, if he was the right price, I'd give him one more chance. I've yet to be convinced that he's not just been really unlucky the last twice. I think he's probably the best horse in this race, but I wouldn't be backing him at 13-8 just in case he's been jacking it. But I can't see that he's been jacking it. I can't see it.
Yeah, I think he really should have won. And when a horse should have won and they keep getting beaten, and then you're being asked to take 13-8 about them. No. 7-2 about the Lion in Winter. That'll do. Diego Velázquez is 20. Well, he's not running then. If he's 20s. That's an insane price about a horse of his ability. That is insane. If he runs, he shouldn't be anywhere near 20-1. Especially if Christoph Simeon's on board. Okay, we are back on Monday previewing the York Ebor meeting. Gavin Lynch back on the Final Furlong podcast. We're looking forward to catching up with him. The Curragh to Curragh cycle will be coming up very, very soon as well. So he can tell you all about that. It's an incredible cause. All in aid of the Pat Smullen cancer research trials. Pat Smullen was a great friend of the show, and so it's a fantastic thing that Gavin does, and a great thing to be part of. So Gavin's going to be on the show chatting all things National Hunt racing. Maybe we'll persuade him to talk a little bit of flat racing as well. But a lot of jumps chat for you, a special with Gavin Lynch next week. And of course, the York Ebor Festival special as well. We're live on TalkSport 2 for all of the York Ebor Festival. I'm covering all of it with the top team. Hopefully you'll join us for that as well. From George Gorman, Andy Newton and me, Emmet Kennedy, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Likes and shares are much appreciated on YouTube and indeed on your favourite podcast app. We will talk to you again very, very soon on the Final Furlong podcast. From all of us, look after yourself and each other. God bless.
Thanks for spending some time with us on the Final Furlong podcast. We're independent media, so if you like what we do, hit like, share, and subscribe. It's free, it's quick, and it genuinely helps. And if you enjoyed this episode, there's plenty more where that came from. Don't miss out. Subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all major platforms, and join us on the gravy train. The Final Furlong podcast, independent, unfiltered, and powered by you.